Welcome to the sacredness of this divine moment. We are in the resonance and the frequency of 1111. One standing equally by one. The frequency of the 1111 teaches us to stand in our equality with every individual being that we engage with and every collective of beings that we engage with. 1111. One standing equally by one. 11 being the higher octave of the number 2. When we are exclusively caught in the embrace and connection with the number 2, there is the temptation to give all of our power away to the other, the one with whom we are in relationship, or the ones. Shadow of 2 is sacrifice, sinking one ship to keep everyone else afloat. Sacrifice is always win, lose. Shadow of 2 is sacrifice. Exaltation of 11 is compassion. Compassion is win-win. Compassion, available through the frequency of 11, teaches us how to give equally unto ourselves while giving unto all others. There is no dark sacrifice or dark rescue tendencies. 11 is the frequency that lifts us above the shadow expression of the rescuer. 11, 1, standing equally by one. 11 and 11 equals 22. And 22 is the master number that is a representation of the human journey. In the tarot cards, there are 22 cards in the major arcana. 11 and 11 equals 22. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. First 11 is the representation of the one-on-one relationships that we share in equality. The second 11 relating to the relationship that we have with all our relations. The number 22 is a master number and represents the human journey. And when we look at that human journey relative to the tarot, we pick 4 cards out of those 22 cards in the major arcana. Key 0, which is the Fool, that takes the journey, and it doesn't mean fool in the literal sense. It's like the Hyoka, the coyote, the trickster, a being that tricks us into enlightenment. The Fool steps off of the cliff, and the first step in the journey as the fool steps off of the cliff, which is stepping down from the celestial heights of that omnipresent divinity, stepping down into individual expression of being. First step in the journey is the magician. The middle point of the journey is justice. We in our society spell justice Justice, which is just ice. There's a lot of dark energy that sometimes expresses through the different world justice systems. The elevated resonance of justice is Justis, just is. The final card in the human journey is key 21, which is the world. And so we take those four cards and turn them into a sentence, which then cracks the code of the tarot as well as the human journey. And what we then have is the fool, magician, just is the word. The fool, magician, just is the word. And the frequency of the 1111 that equals the 22, in the taking of that first step into the resonance of the magician, and the magician has a direct correlation to our imagination. Magi in action. When we wield in a divine way the force of our imagination, we then summon forth the expression of the Magi within us. And Magi is the oneness of the wholeness of the clan of magicians, which is why the three wise men that took the gold, frankincense, and myrrh to Yeshua the Christ were referred to as the Magi, magicians, plural. And so we wield the force of our imagination, which becomes more available through this resonance with the 1111, one and one and one and one standing equally by one. The resonance of recognizing one's equality with every other being, and no being in all existence is never placed upon a pedestal, not even God Almighty. God cannot be greater than God, nor can God be less than God, and God is the supreme content, the supreme content of every individualized expression of life. Each and every individual is the microcosm of God. Each and every individual, you, beloved, are the microcosm of the quantum field. Therefore, wherever you are is where the quantum is. You are the microcosm of the mind of God. And so wherever you are is where the mind of God is. 1111, the sacred wake-up call, allowing us to come into divine wakefulness and remembering who we really are. 1111 is a frequency that brings us into the awareness that we are at one with every being in all existence. Therefore, if we are one with every being in all existence, we are one with every creation in all existence. We are one with every good deed in all existence. We have a co-creative hand and heart and mind in every amazing thing that is ever done in life. This is the power of the 1111. Remember who you are. Power of the 1111, the I Magi in action, the right use of imagination. Imagination, the means by which we cast forth our gaze as the quantum observer upon any and every reality that we want to bring into being. And the recognition that all realities exist simultaneously, all the way down the corridors of eternity, from the beginningless beginning, all the way into the endless end. 1111 facilitates this divine awareness. Feel our access, as the 1111 is an Ascension access code to any and all of the simultaneous realities in the quantum field. And every reality that exists within the quantum field microcosmically exists within the inner sanctum of our individualized being. And so we utilize this 1111 Ascension code to reconnect with the absoluteness of our being. And we recognize that all of our blessings that will ever come to be, all the way down the corridors of forever into the endless end, are blessings that are unborn. Are unborn blessings deep in the inner recesses of our own being. All of our blessings are made of the frequency of our own being. Just as we are made of the frequency of God's being. God has created us out of the fabric of God's being. And just as God is eternal, so is God's creation of individualized being eternal. Even from the beginningless beginning. Even before the creation of the individualized expression of being, we lived as a seed potential in the awareness of God, in the mind of God, and therefore we carry the memories of God. 1111, coming home to self, coming home to eternal remembrance, coming home to cosmic consciousness, coming home to God awareness, realizing that every one of us are the microcosm of God. Therefore, wherever we are is where God is. And so by virtue of the wisdom of the 1111, we elevate our appreciation for all of our unborn blessings, even in their subjective state of the formless. Wisdom of the 1111 teaches us that the formless is the power that creates all form. The subjective is the power that creates the objective. That the invisible is the power that creates the visible. So we follow the guidance and the wisdom of the 1111. And we experience our ascended love ad infinitum for every blessing that we are summoning forth into objective resonance and reality. By virtue of the fact that every blessing emanates from deep within our central core, we are always and eternally in the oneness our blessings. Never is there a time when our blessings did not exist. Every unborn blessing within your being and my being is co-eternal with God. Therefore, our blessings have a presence that is everywhere and an absence that is nowhere. I am present everywhere and absent nowhere. You are present everywhere and absent nowhere. Coming home to self and knowing I am safe at home in heaven's bed, not catching hell on earth instead. Many worlds did I create before my dawn in fleshly state, traveler through eternity. Timelessness my legacy, journey to an endless end. I am everywhere and everywhere. Nowhere. My life began and it shall never, never end. All times are now, all space is here, and there is no reason to fear. While every living moment owns all past, present, future zones, I am the universal whole with multi-selfhood as my goal, and as the spirit of the one creation is how I have fun. So from the great and central sun, legions of my spirit sprung to form and roam the galaxy to learn from every part of me the lesson of the one in all, and pain of separations forever. From high to lowest frequency, all I ever find is me. My mission lives in all dimensions, oneness being my prime intention. In all the mirrors of myself, I see true love and godly wealth. And once while traveling on the earth, I forgot my birthless birth. A bitter war I waged with me. Forgot that I was whole and free. Once upon eternity, never did I fight with me. Yet once upon a time and space, I lost my mind in human race. While catching hell on earth instead, I am safe at home in heaven's bed. We stand in the power of the quantum observer, and we turn our attention away from all of the despair within our world, all of the injustice within our world, all of the suffering in our world. Turn our gaze away from all those shadows. We cast our gaze upon every version of reality. We are in divine alignment and gazing upon every reality where our world is in its greatest exaltation, where brotherhood and sisterhood prevails. And these are realities that exist simultaneously with this three-dimensional craziness in our world. And so we observe into being a greater exaltation of world frequency. And as we observe this quantum reality as a wave of eternal possibility in the womb of creation, in the mind of God, in the eternal now, in the quantum field, as well as the inner sanctum of our own being, we cause the vibrational frequency to begin to slow down, slowing down so much in its vibratory rate. It slows down slower than the speed of light, and now takes on the solidification of objective form, and our world is elevated into celestial exaltation as we are elevated into the remembering of the eternal world exaltation. We dream awake the benevolence of our world by virtue of the 1111 frequency. We've come home to our